Our next speaker is David Wood, and David's here to share his experience of being injured while playing football, and also, most importantly, what a serious injury can mean to the lives of the individuals and their family. What's important about this is that there's been a lot of evidence recently that indicates increasingly that it's the individual and their immediate family that bear the load from injuries in the workplace. So David will now give us a sense of what it means to be seriously injured. Over to you, David.
Thanks, Alan. Hope I get them claps afterward. Hey, listen, firstly, a big thank you to you guys for turning up today. I think it's great that you've shown the initiative to come along and really consider the value of having a safe workplace, so credit to you guys. I usually go out and speak to schools of about 30 to 40 students, so to have a turnout like this, it's probably the closest I'll get to Ed Sheeran, and we could turn the lights down and get the lighters going, and But lucky I can't sing. Lucky for you guys. I'm great friends with Cameron Blight over in the back there, and I was having a coffee with him and Pam not so long ago, and they told me they was launching the Better Work program, and it just so happens that my story ties in with that, and I can give you guys some perspective of someone who's had an accident in a workplace. Well, one was on the sporting field, but much for muchness. So Cameron promised he'd throw a tomato at me if I took more than 10 minutes. That might be a lemon, but so we'll see how we go. But to give you an idea, 16 years ago I had a football accident playing footy, and ironically it was out on the ground behind you, and it was 16 years to the day on Friday, day before Anzac Day. So it's a bit crazy that I'm sitting here talking to you guys to give you an insight about my story. So to give you an idea of what happened, I was 18 at the time. It's a beautiful age, 18, and some of us have to think back a little harder to remember the age, but transitioning into being an adult and having a car and freedom. And for me, I was placed really well. I had an apprenticeship at Cadbury's. I had a beautiful girlfriend at the time, and I had a dream of playing AFL football. And that was all tracking very well. I'd broken into the senior side for the first game of the year with Clarence. Now, please don't hold that against me. I've been at talks and people throw things at me when I say I played with Clarence. So you either love them or you hate them. There's no in between. But so it was my third senior game. And to give you an idea, I don't know if you follow footy much, but I played full forward. And the damn ruckman, I know I'm about 4 foot to look at, and it was a bit of a measure off with Alan. I thought, geez, I've nearly got you, mate, in the chair. But the ruckman got hurt and went off, and I'm 6'4" when I'm laying flat on the ground, or if you want to stand me up. So I was thrown into the ruck, and it was my third senior game against Devonport. And I remember it quite well, even though it was 16 years ago. I was just out on the wing behind you. And if you can imagine where the stand is, I don't know if you can see, but imagine there was a football just loose. And to win the ball, I was running flat out to get to it. So charging flat out, and there was 2 guys coming towards me. So to get to the ball first, I've actually dived. And I vividly remember my hands touching the football. And within a split second, one guy's knee had hit me in the shoulder. So you can imagine at pace, my body's gone one way. And within a split second, the other guy had collected my head and hit it the other way. So left one way, back the other way, and bang, a massive gunshot went off. And I remember the whistle going. It was the umpire, free kick Clarence. And I tell the kids, of the 16 years I've been in the wheelchair and through my rehab, that moment was the most scariest of all. I just remember being frozen, and I could just lift my hands. And it was just a really scary moment. And so very lucky they had a gentleman by the name of David Joyce, who was a trainer at the time. Now, he was experienced in spinal injuries. And it just turns out, too, that we had a spinal board. Now, what does that mean? So, of the 10 clubs that played, was in the competition, there was one team that had a spinal board. And thank God it was mine. Okay, to give you an idea, I broke my C6, there's a 6 vertebrae in your neck. And basically, if you draw a line across my nipples, I say nipples, Blighty, I get away with that? Or yep. Very good. I've basically got no movement or feeling from there down. Okay, so, and it wasn't until I got over into Melbourne, I realised just how severe of an injury I'd had. And the head doctor at the time actually praised David Joyce and how I was handled. So to give you an idea, a couple of millimetres up is your C5. Now, for him to have for the club to have a spinal board, and for him to be practicing in treating the injury like he did, probably save him my independence. So for me now, I'm very lucky. I have my triceps, and I know you look at me and go, oh, lucky. Like, geez, it's human nature to see someone that's got an injury like mine, to not feel sorry, but, to think that I'm harshly treated. But a couple of mil higher, and the difference would have been probably me having someone to come and care for me. So getting me dressed, doing my toiletry. As now I'm quite confident I don't need anyone, I don't rely on anyone, I do everything. So that ties into what you guys are doing here. I just think it's a fantastic initiative from WorkSafe to launch this program, and for you guys to embrace it and think about it, because as much as we want to prevent accidents happening, they're going to happen. They do happen. So it's also important to have the resources and pieces around dealing with the injury at the time. So you can see it's justified that I was just very lucky that my guys had it right. Okay, so you're nodding your head. So credit to you guys again for showing the initiative to be here. 10 minutes, I don't know how I'm going, but I thought, when I speak, I always like to try and leave you guys with something. What can you take away from the talk from me? So with the kids, I juggle too. I talk about opportunities. So I'll sort of start with that one first. I mean, we've got many high-profile people here today. You might be a CEO, you might be a director of a company, you might be an employee. But when you're stripped back, you go home at night and you take your uniform off, and you're just you, what motivates you as a person? And I talk to kids about opportunities because I guess you could look at me now and go, well, you be careful of what you do, and in my situation, but it's quite the opposite. I was a bit of a relaxed kid and didn't worry too much about peer pressure when I was a young guy, and I sort of participated in everything. And I tell the kids, and I keep referring back to what I tell the kids, but at the age of 15 or 16, to be ballroom dancing with your auntie isn't cool back then. Like, it wasn't. You got bagged out. Like, what are you doing, Dave? Ballroom dancing? You're meant to be a footballer. That doesn't look good. And like, you look now, they've got Dancing with the Stars, and it's cool. So like, just bad timing, I guess. Yeah. I used to swim. I used to participate in everything. And the angle I'm coming from is those opportunities that I took part in and participated in. Some of the memories I cherish now because I'm in this situation. Okay, so if there's something that you guys have got on your agenda to do, something that you haven't done, get amongst it and create. I mean, you guys had the opportunity to come along today, and you've done that. Okay. I've had the opportunity to come along and give you something, a bit of an insight into what I do. And what do I get out of it? I get the opportunity to see how other speakers present. So the opportunity is always around us, so embrace them and create them. So, I mean, you've chosen today to take an opportunity, and now you've got an opportunity to create by taking this further. So that's a little motivator there. But I guess the most important one, and the one I'll leave you with, is a little voice. And we've all got a little voice. You go, Dave, he's probably looking at me, a little voice. But I had it this morning, and we probably all had it this morning. It's when you woke up and the alarm went off. What's the first thing you try and do? I'll tell you what I did this morning. The alarm went off at 6 o'clock. Oh, I'm going to get up and practice my speech so I don't look like a deal. Nah. Little voice, Dave, hit the snooze button, you got 10 minutes. Yeah, righto, bang, snooze button. Goes again, hit the snooze button again. You might be trying to stick to a diet in some capacity, and the little voice goes, I have a piece of chocolate. It's not going to hurt, a little piece of chocolate. But that little voice, if you try and beat it, it's a way of becoming mentally conditioned. So if the alarm goes off tomorrow at 6 o'clock or whenever you set your alarm, tell the little voice to get stuffed and go, no, I'm getting up. Okay? Don't have that piece of chocolate. Now, I'm sorry that this does work, because I heard it from another speaker many moons ago, but I'm sorry to put my image or my face in your mind at 6 o'clock when you wake up, because it will happen. Now I've told you, 6 o'clock, you might not do it tomorrow morning, but you will remember this, and you go, oh shit, Dave was talking about beating the little voice. But where I'm going with this is that little voice, as you do it over time, it won't be just your alarm clock you're trying to beat. All of a sudden there'll be little things during your day that you try and beat. And over time, without you knowing, you start to become mentally conditioned, okay? And to the point where, was sort of, my little voice was shitting itself, trying to make me shit myself before I come up and spoke amongst 200 to 300 people. But I tell the kids that as you go along, that little voice can be the most important thing you'll ever have, because in life, if you've got nothing at all, your world goes to shit and you've got nothing, you've always got yourself and that little voice, and that can be so important. So I challenge you guys to take it on and use it. It's a good tool that I have. And like on the job, we talk, are we doing the right thing? That little voice, am I doing the right thing? Is this safe? So just a simple little thing like that is a fun thing to work with. I'm just, again, will apologise for thinking of me at 6 o'clock in the morning. To end off, look, I only had 10 minutes to wrap it up. I guess from my perspective, I love the opportunity to come and speak. Again, I've got a lot of positive messages I can give to people. And I do spinal awareness talk, so if it's something you feel that your workplace would be interested in, just pass your number on to Cameron Blight or Pauline, and I'm sure I can come out and give a little insight to your workplace. So again, congratulations for coming along, and thanks for listening to me.